Welcome back to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets here on Mayo Media Network. I'm your host, Jake Hahn. Once again, we have a busy Thursday in the NHL, 9 games on the card. Before we get into some bets and some DraftKings plays, remember to like the show, subscribe to Mayo Media Network as well, and don't be afraid to share the show around if you do know somebody that might enjoy this content as well. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this 9-game card in the NHL for Thursday. We kick things off with the Vegas Golden Knights on the road, minus 135 favorites in Ottawa to take on the Senators, who are plus 115 here on home ice. Over-under set at 6 for this game. Vegas is coming off a 4-0 shutout loss to the Leafs on Tuesday, where they were just thoroughly dominated. This Golden Knights team is basically icing a B squad right now with all the injuries that they have. And these are long-term injuries. These guys aren't coming back anytime soon. They're continuing an Eastern road trip here. They do have Ottawa here on Thursday, Montreal on Saturday, and then they're in Detroit on Sunday. So 3 games in 4 nights here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Pacioretty out, Stone out, William Karlsson out, Alex Tuch out, Nolan Patrick out, White Cloud out. It's just a crazy list of injuries for Vegas right now that they're dealing with. The Sens return home after a 3-game trip that was pretty good. 1-1 for the Sens on that trip. I thought they played some pretty good hockey. They lost 5-4 in overtime to Minnesota on Tuesday. The Wild were the better team in that game, but the Ottawa found a way to hang in there. Philip Gustafsson was once again really good in net for Ottawa. I'm not sure if he's going to get the call in this game, but he played 2 good games on that road trip for Ottawa. 3rd game in 4 nights for the Sens as they return home from that trip as well. They're struggling defensively, but the top 6 in Ottawa looks really good. I still like a lot of the pieces that they have there up front, and they're a team I'm going to be targeting a lot this year as a possible underdog. And the record's not great right now, so we're still getting them at dog prices. I like them at this dog price here. Vegas didn't show me anything earlier this week against the Maple Leafs, and they just look like such a depleted roster right now. I think Ottawa can take advantage here, and I'll be looking to bet them at plus money. Plus 115 is the price right now, but I'm comfortable taking Ottawa as any sort of dog here. Next game on the card, the Florida Panthers, minus 150 favorites on home ice to the Washington Capitals, plus 130 road underdogs for Washington. Over-under set at 6 for this game. Caps lost their first game in regulation on Monday in Tampa, so they'd been really good to start the season, really consistent, 5-1-3 now on the year. I thought they were the better team in that game against Tampa Bay. They were pretty good for the most part. They just couldn't beat Vasilevsky. Defense continues to be the key for Washington. They're still first in the league in terms of shots on goal allowed. That's a big reason for their success right now. I mentioned on the Monday show, they have become a little too top heavy. So if you can shut down Ovechkin and Kuznetsov, like the Lightning were able to do on Monday night, then you can beat this Capitals team. Let those other guys beat you. Panthers are coming off 4 days rest, so they'll be well rested for this game. They finally lost for the first time on Saturday to the Boston Bruins, but it took a shootout to finally beat these Panthers, a 3-2 shootout win for Boston on Saturday. So Florida should come in well rested. Looks like they're starting to get a clean bill of health. Anton Lundell is expected to come back for this game. Good young player for the Panthers. I won't have a play on this game. I think based on the odds, I'd probably give a slight lean to Washington as plus 130 underdogs, but I'm not willing to get in front of this Panthers team too much the way that they're rolling, especially coming off of 4 days of rest. So this one's going to be a pass for me. Next game on the card, really interesting game here. The Toronto Maple Leafs seem to have finally figured something out over the past few games. They're minus 120 favorites on home ice against the Tampa Bay Lightning, plus 105 on the road. Over-under set at 6.5 for this one. Tampa Bay has won 3 games in a row now, 2 days off since beating the Caps 3-2 on Monday, like we mentioned. Vasilevsky is really starting to heat up. He's looked great the past few games. Still the best goaltender in the world. Maybe some people are making the case for Igor Shesterkin right now, and it's a strong case, but I still think it is Vasilevsky. They've been quite average offensively. I mentioned that on the Monday show. Killorn continues to step up, though. He's producing at a really crazy clip for them, especially with Kucherov not in the lineup. The Leafs have also won 3 in a row, just like the Lightning. Top players are starting to play much, much better. Mitch Marner seems to have found his confidence. John Tavares is playing a lot better. Pucks are starting to go in for Austin Matthews, who I thought was a bit snake-bitten to start the season, but he gets a couple goals against Vegas earlier this week. You'd probably look at this game and see these two teams, and we know the Leafs have a lot of firepower, a lot of star players on that roster. Tampa Bay lacking some of that firepower with Kucherov out of the lineup. You might look at this game, see 6.5, and say we should get a lot of goals, and maybe we do, but I'm going to take the under here. I took the under on Monday in a Tampa Bay game. I think this is going to be their MO moving forward without Kucherov, is try to keep these games tight, low scoring, lean on Victor Hedman, lean on Vasilevsky between the pipes. I think they're going to do just that and try to limit Toronto's top players in this game. I see a 3-2, maybe a 4-2 type game. So we're getting a total at 6.5 here. I think that's value playing the under 6.5 goals. That's half a goal too high, in my opinion. So I'm going to play the under in this game. We move on, the Battle of Pennsylvania, the first installment of the Battle of Pennsylvania. I always get excited for this matchup. The Pittsburgh Penguins, slight favorites, -115 on home ice against the Philadelphia Flyers, -105 on the road. Over-under set at 6 here. Flyers have won 5 of their last 7 games, coming off a 3-0 shutout win over the Yotes on Tuesday. Everyone's beating the Yotes right now, but still an impressive run here for the Flyers over the past couple of weeks. I think they've looked half decent. They look like a playoff team, or at least a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot, in my opinion. Ryan Ellis will miss another game with a lower body injury, so the back end taking a bit of a hit for Philly, but it's nothing in comparison to what Pittsburgh has been dealing with this year. And they got more bad news on Wednesday. Sidney Crosby and Brian Dumoulin will be out with COVID. Same with Marcus Pettersson and Chad Ruhwedel, who are already out. Letang could come back for this game. There's a possibility Chris Letang could come back, so that's one little bit of good news. The Pens have lost 3 straight. They'll be well rested for this game. They have had 4 days off. Their last game was Saturday, a 4-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils. But based on these odds, based on what's happening with Pittsburgh, with this news about Sidney Crosby, he plays 1 game. Now he's on the COVID list, which is unfortunate for him. I got to look at the Flyers here at any sort of dog price, -105 right now. I could see that line changing, maybe flipping closer to Philly before game time as more and more people look at what's happening to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if you're betting this game, I think it's a Flyers or pass for me. Next game on the card, we've got the Boston Bruins, big favorites, biggest favorite on the board on Thursday night, -255 on home ice. Detroit +205 underdogs on the road. Over-under set at 5.5 for this game. Wings have lost 3 in a row. They got shut out in Montreal on Tuesday. They didn't look very good in that game. Couldn't test Jake Allen at all. And I think Dylan Larkin's a big reason for that. He was out for that game due to personal reasons. As of record right now, there's no update on Dylan Larkin, so he could still be out for this game due to those personal reasons, whatever's going on with him right now. The Bruins have been off since Saturday. Another team that's going to be well rested. 3-2 shootout win over Florida on Saturday. Jeremy Swayman is expected to get the call for Boston in this game. If Larkin was healthy, I would possibly look to the Wings for the upset here. I do think that they've looked pretty good to start the season, but with his health in question mark, or his availability in question mark, I should say, I'm just going to take a pass on this game. Boston should win this game, but I'm not willing to lay that kind of chalk here. So we'll move on to the next game. I don't have much to say about the Bruins and the Red Wings there. The Islanders, -130 favorites on the road in Montreal. Montreal +115 favorites, or +115 underdogs on home ice in this game at the Bell Center. Over 5.5, under 5.5 is the under slightly juiced here, -130 to the under in this game. I also played just 1 game in their last 10 days. It's crazy. I almost forgot that they were in the NHL. It's been a mini break from their 13-game road trip to start the season. So it's a long road trip, but with this sort of weird break in between. Start of 3 and 4 for them, though. They'll get busy here in Montreal Thursday, in Winnipeg Saturday, and then in Minnesota on Sunday. So that's a tough back-to-back on the weekend, Winnipeg and Minnesota. Habs come back from the Cali trip, and they shut out Detroit 3-0. I didn't really expect that on Tuesday. I was thinking maybe Detroit could get that game, but the Dylan Larkin news comes down and the Habs are able to take advantage. 2 of their 3 wins this year have actually come against the Detroit Red Wings. So that leads me to the play, double checking here. Yeah, this isn't the Detroit Red Wings that Montreal is playing. It's the New York Islanders, a different team. I think a tough matchup for Montreal, a team that already struggles to score, and you get a unit like the Islanders that know how to lock it down, that get great goaltending. I think this is a bad matchup for Montreal against a rested Islanders squad. So I'll take the Isles on the money line at -130 and maybe take a look at the puck line. It's +170 for the Isles to win by a couple goals. I would look to that. It feels like a 3-1, maybe 4-1 type Islanders win at the Bell Center on Thursday night. Next game on the card, we go to the Calgary Flames, -135 favorites on home ice. They've looked really impressive this season. The Dallas Stars coming into Calgary for this game, +110, road underdogs, over-under set at 5.5 for this game. The Stars have lost 4 games in a row, finally played their first over of the season on Tuesday, and I was actually on the over in that game. So thanks to Dallas for actually scoring a few goals for once. haven't won a game in regulation all year. They have 3 wins, and they've all come in either overtime or the shootout. So if you've been betting Dallas to win in regulation, you might not have any money left to play with by this point in the season. Flames had their 6-game win streak snapped on Tuesday versus Nashville, but I watched the majority of that game. I still thought Calgary was the better team despite losing that game in overtime. So doesn't sway me on how Calgary's looked to start the season. I'd look to play the Flames here. Minus 135 on the money line, I think is pretty fair. Maybe you look to the puck line if you want to get that plus money, plus 180 for the puck line. I'd give a slight lean to the under too. I think the way that these two teams play, we could see a lower scoring game, but I feel like the total is fair at 5.5. There's not a ton of value with it, even though I do think it will be a lower scoring game, but I like the Flames in this one. Let's move on here. We got the Seattle Kraken minus 165 favorites on home ice against the Buffalo Sabres, plus 145 road underdogs for Buffalo, over under set at 5.5 for this game as well. Sabres have lost 2 in a row after that really nice start to the season, end of a 4-game road trip here that they've had a couple of losses on. They did pick up a win as well. Special teams are still good though. They're 8th in the league on the power play right now, 6th in the league on the penalty kill. Kraken have lost 2 games in a row, still struggling on offense. They're trying to keep games as boring as possible. It feels like that's going to be their MO this year. Just play good defense. And it's going to result in some wins. Might not be the most exciting team to watch this season, but I like the Sabres here. I like the value, plus 145. I just feel like Seattle continues to be overpriced early in the season. They could easily win this game. It feels like kind of a coin flip to me, but you're going to give me plus 145 in what I deem close to being a coin flip. I'm going to take that with the Buffalo Sabres. Last game on the card, the San Jose Sharks plus 110 home underdogs to the St. Louis Blues, who are minus 130 on the road, over under set at 5.5 for this game. This will be the second half of a back-to-back for the Blues. They are in LA on Wednesday before they go to San Jose for this game. 6-1 on the season going into that LA game, and they've been scoring a ton. The Blues have been really fun to watch. First in the league in goals per game, second on the power play, second on the penalty kill. So special teams have been really good for St. Louis. The Sharks 2 wins in a row while battling some severe COVID issues. It feels like half their roster is out. Keep an eye on who is available in this game. If you are playing DraftKings or making bets, we could see some news on Thursday at some point. This is a late start on the East Coast. I believe it's a 10:30 Eastern start, so 7:30 Pacific time. Tomas Hertl has been amazing in the last couple of games with a lot of guys on the shelf. Timo Meier was on the shelf in the last game. Logan Couture and Brent Burns also played really well. I'd look to the over here. I've been playing a lot of Blues overs or looking at them as a possible over team this season. And, San Jose's goaltending isn't great, although Reimer has been pretty solid to start the season. I think both teams will get their chances in this game, and we may see things open up. So an over 5.5, I think that's very, very fair. So to recap the bets, we've got a lot that we like on the Thursday card. The Sens at any sort of plus money, Tampa Bay, Toronto under 6.5, Islanders money line or puck line, whatever you feel. Calgary money line or puck line, Sabres plus 145 road underdogs, St. Louis, San Jose over 5.5. And I do like Philly at that minus 105 price with everything that's going on with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Quickly, we'll take a look at DraftKings strategy for Thursday. I think it's a really interesting card, and there's some value on this DraftKings board. Vegas looked horrible earlier this week against the Maple Leafs, and maybe that was more of the Leafs finally figuring things out, but I just think that Vegas lineup is going to have a tough time holding up. So this could be a time to target the top Senators players as they take on the Golden Knights on Thursday. Josh Norris is only $6,000 on DraftKings. Drake Batherson, $5,700, and Brady Tkachuk, only $6,100. So all three of them kind of in that same price range. Maybe you grab 2 of the 3. I think that Ottawa should score a few goals in this game, and those guys have been a big part, the driving force of the offense in Ottawa to start the season. So take a look at that trio. Paying up for Bruins, I think, is okay as they take on the Red Wings. And I think pretty fair prices for David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand when you compare them to the other top players on this slate. Only $7,600 for Pasta and $7,300 for Brad Marchand. I think those are guys you could easily play in your lineup and still have some money to maybe sprinkle on down the board. St. Louis, San Jose, I did say I like the over, so maybe you could look at that game as a possibility for some players. I think Tomas Hertl is still way too cheap. Now, people are probably going to notice that playing DraftKings DraftKings and see what he's done the past couple of games, but $5,200 for Tomas Hertl, I think, is way too cheap. Tarasenko and Perron could be decent options for the St. Louis Blues. I mentioned Anton Lundell earlier coming back for the Florida Panthers. Make sure he is healthy for this game, but it does sound like he is going to come back for Thursday's game. He was playing great in that top six for the Panthers before he went down, and he's only $2,600 on this slate. So if you need someone that, everyone needs that cheap guy that you can throw in the lineup so you can afford the more expensive players, I think Anton Lundell could be that option for you on Thursday night, assuming he does play the game. And Alex Killorn is still too cheap. I have to shout this guy out. I can't believe he's still only $4,700. Another guy like Hertl, I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards because of what he's done the last couple of games, but that's just a silly price for the minutes that Alex Killorn's playing for the Tampa Bay in that top six right now at only $4,700. That's it for me today. Remember to like the show, subscribe to the channel, and as always, good luck with your bets and your lineups. I'll catch you all next week.